Hey everybody, it's a video about hockey and it's also a video about um, kind of programming technical stuff about how to update an algorithm and good practices. We're going to talk about rosters specifically in this video and show how rosters can affect these algorithms immensely. And they're a big part of why the sports algorithms do better than normal and in many instances do so excellent that they become the standard for setting lines. We try to take in as much information as we can. So I will talk about what I had to do to hockey. The reason why I'm talking about hockey is last night, I'm free from sports betting now, not betting on games. So I'm like, well, what would I sit around and have on television now if it doesn't have to be college basketball? It doesn't have to be something I'm betting on. And of course, it was watching Edmonton and Boston play a barn burner of a hockey game. And it was very enjoyable to watch that. It reminded me of when I just would watch sports and not bet on it. And it was more enjoyable for me. So it got me to thinking about the hockey algorithm and what it would have said for this game. And so I updated some things. And it didn't have as high of a scoring game, and it showed a really close one, but Boston ended up winning this game. I was surprised to see Stuart Skinner's rating in here. I am not a fond, I see Stuart Skinner as a guy that makes some mistakes in key points in games. I don't think he's of the quality that Edmonton needs to go as far as they want to go in the playoffs. So I was surprised to see his rating here. The rating is outperforming my assessment of him. Anyway, so I do watch hockey and I want to talk about hockey because for those of you that are interested in this and also interested in understanding, I got a question about daily fantasy sports and, do you have anything for daily fantasy? And I thought this is a great algorithm to show you kind of some ways that you can use it to help you in daily fantasy because it can be helpful. We do take into account player stats. So let's get to it. For the day, there's a bunch of games it's already predicting in here. This algorithm is very automated. It involves refreshing with a data connection to RotoWire for almost all the stats it uses. And it's really quick to update. You just run the data connection when you refresh them and you update for the current day. And you end up getting the current odds for the day that just paste right in here. Everything pastes right in here nicely. And you get this layout. Sometimes though, there are trades and there are changes within rosters. And when you look at all the players that come in here, we have a database of all the players. They come in and they're pasted in here, and the goalies are pasted in here. And sometimes they will have errors because they make their first start of the season. All kinds of things can happen. Well, we keep a list of all players here in the matrix sheet. Anytime a new player comes in, we add them, we put their name, their team, the position, and then we actually list the name twice here. And it's going to run a check to make sure that we have that player on the correct team. And it says okay over here, basically. Oh, sometimes it doesn't say okay. Sometimes it says, oh no. And you're like, what? What is this oh no? This oh no is checking and it's saying, hey, we have Declan Chisholm on Winnipeg. He's a defenseman, but actually, Declan Chisholm, according to RotoWire's current stats, says he plays on Minnesota. And that's because he probably got traded to Minnesota. Let's ask Google real quick on that one just to verify. Let's see. Who does Devin Chisholm play for in the NHL? Oh, Declan. Declan Chisholm trade. Let's see what happens there.
According to Sportsnet, the Winnipeg Jets lost a player on Monday when Declan Chisholm was claimed off waivers by the Minnesota Wild.
There you
The
go.
defenseman had been with
That
the
was
team
on
since
January
November
20. Yeah, that was on January 29th. So I have not updated this algorithm in so long. So long. You can see here, it looks like December 27th was the last time I was putting in games and I hadn't put in scores or anything. So I let it go because it's not a great betting tool, to be honest with you. The NHL algorithm is difficult to use to win games consistently because hockey is so tough. It's a sport with fewer goals and there's a lot of bounces involved. So it's tough to bet on winners in hockey. However, watching hockey and understanding what players are doing, and when players are hot and players that are playing a lot, that has a lot to do with what's going on in hockey. So this is why I want to focus on players in this video. So anyway, we just changed Declan Chisholm to the correct team that he's on. Well, all these people that have oh no's, we are going to click them. And this is going to show us all the team adjustments for certain players over the last few months. That's what it's going to do. Elias Lindholm apparently went to Vancouver. Sean Monahan went to Winnipeg. Look at Canada trying to do things. Braden Pachal went to Calgary. Patchell? I don't recognize that name. I watch a lot of hockey. I used to anyway. Adam Ruzicka. Ruzicka, right? I'm pretty sure that's Ruzicka. Goes to Arizona. Matthew Phillips goes from the Caps to Pittsburgh. I'm a Caps fan. I haven't even heard of that guy. Tobias Bjornfot goes to Vegas from LA. Andrei Kuzmenko goes to Calgary from Vancouver. That sounds like the trade for, I believe, Elias Lindholm, right? Seems right. Nick Bonino is now retired. How about that? That's news. Or he's a free agent, not necessarily retired, but apparently he's a free agent. Corey Perry. Yep. Corey Perry got through whatever he got through and went to Edmonton. I saw him fight last night in their game. Good for him. He's almost as old as me. No, he's not. He's like 39, I think. Spencer Martin goes to Carolina. Jamie Drysdale goes to Philly from Anaheim. Gustav Lindstrom goes to Anaheim from Montreal. Zach Sanford goes from Arizona to Chicago. And Nick DeSimone is going to go from Calgary to New Jersey. And that's going to hopefully have accounted for all of the trades that have happened that are, to keep this really accurate. And if any goalies have traded, what would happen? Now we would see them. We'd see them in this list as well. So let's see. Now that we've adjusted that, we have some projections before I made all those trade adjustments. Let's go and grab the odds again. This is now essentially a newly updated version of this, but not a lot is going to have changed. We're going to paste it in the cube right here for today's games, and then we're going to refresh. We'll see if there's any changes. Slight changes on goalie ranking. I saw somebody must have got traded there. So a little bit of a change, but not much. Now, what that does is that now gives you a list of the current players and their rating here. Now, what's interesting about this is when you look at the projections for the day, after we've done, now we've got a really current version of players playing on the correct teams in the NHL, updated from a month and a half ago to almost 2 months ago. So this is really good. Well, what does it say about the day? Look for extremes, look for extremes. Well, it shows a lot of goals for Dallas over Ottawa, and it shows a lot of goals for Vancouver over Seattle. So if you're focusing on overs, essentially, in player fantasy or people that might get some points today, you're going to want to look on Dallas and on Vancouver if the algorithm's doing anything right. Those are two big ones. Well, you can look in the players pivot and you can see that Vancouver is the top total point team, at least by player, that we have in this list. It's rating all these players. And when you open this up, you start to see how it rates people. It's doing a rating based on a distribution of stats here that we have for the player. We put 20% a weight on goals, 15% on assists, 5% on points in total, 15% on plus minus. Like, it's showing the power strength of the player, 10% on block shots. I haven't worked on this distribution in a while, but whatever, it's okay. It's giving us sort of a weighted rating with points being, goals and assists being pretty heavy on there. Well, as you look at that, you could say, all right, well, who's going to probably get points tonight and contribute? Yeah, it's probably JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes, Brock Besser. So if you're given options of shots and points and stuff on these players, this is probably the order you want to go in. And you look for value because this is a game where these people are probably going to get some points. Dallas right here. Who would you do it with Dallas? You'd say, wow, Rope Hintz is on here, but notice let me show you both of them at the same time because this is kind of interesting. So if you want to look at the two big ones and be like, all right, who do I take for overs and stuff on shots and points? You click both of those teams and you open up and you get to see the rating of the players, and you can actually move the players to the left for a second here. Move to the left. And now you get just the players in order, and it'll mix up the teams a little bit. So you can see Rope Hintz, while he's the highest ranked point player on the Stars, doesn't come close to the Vancouver numbers. Like he's behind Brock Besser, even the fourth highest rated guy on Vancouver. So when it comes to getting points tonight, it distortedly shows that Vancouver probably scores more points. Now, anything happens in hockey, but this is just an interesting way of looking at things by player and really getting it current, and then using the rest of the algorithm to try to focus on, if you were focusing on teams that are going to score goals, there you go. What about teams that are not supposed to score goals? My poor Capitals playing Tampa Bay are apparently only, supposed to put up less than 2 goals. Now, Ovechkin has been on a hot streak lately. Good for him. Maybe he'll continue. I think he had 2 goals in their last game, and I think he's on like a 7-game goal scoring streak. Let's check. Alex Ovechkin's current goal per game scoring streak.
According to CBS Sports, the 38-year-old Ovechkin now has goals in 6 straight games and points in his last 7 contests, totaling 6 goals and 3 assists in that span. He's up to 14 goals, 9 coming in his last 20 outings, and 37 points through 49 games this season.
Man, what date is that? What date is that answer? I don't think it is. I think he did better than that. Hold on. Here's an article from the 12th. No, nope. He was on his longest goal scoring streak back on the 13th. Tough, tough to get a current answer on this, but I feel like he's there. Like people stopped writing articles about it on the 12th or the 13th. That can't be right. Well, point is you can see that Ovechkin here, these numbers obviously much, much lower than what we saw with Vancouver and even with Dallas. So it's difficult to expect a lot of goals, especially against a team like Tampa Bay, which Cooper, good coach. And they're a pretty defensive team. Vasilevsky's rating is actually lower than I would have expected. So he must not be having a normal, excellent season. I remember him being almost on the top of the list last year. So it's been a little bit different. And one can say Ovechkin on a scoring streak, so maybe you take him to get a point or something just because he's on a roll. Going to be maybe Ovechkin shots is something to do, but it's more like Lindgren saves are probably what are going to need to be made here. And I am a fan of Charlie Lindgren. I've discussed Charlie Lindgren in the past. I think he's got a lot of heart. I think he feels like the number 1 goalie in Washington, even though Kemper's got a big contract. And I've seen him play a few times. Last game they played Vancouver and they lost in overtime to Vancouver. He did not play though. I believe it was Kemper that played in that game. And you wonder if Lindgren could have won that game. So in this game, we'll see what happens here. But notice it says lower scoring because the Caps have trouble scoring. And I'm partial as a hockey fan saying Lindgren's pretty good here and, certainly holds Tampa Bay to 3 or hopefully less. Anyway, I wanted to do this video because I will watch hockey even though I'm not betting. We are still not betting. We're in good shape. No sports bets made yesterday. We are on a roll and not doing it. And but I will watch some hockey, and this is an enjoyable algorithm. It's easy to keep track of. And so if you want a copy and you're a hockey fan, while this is not going to make you a fortune and it's not even going to be right enough to be consistently profitable, I cannot promise you that on this algorithm because it just isn't. Last year in the playoffs, of course, it had Boston beating Florida in the first round, and so did everybody else. The lines were insane on the Bruins because they had such a great year. They get knocked off because it's hockey. And hockey, great sport to watch, terrible sport to bet. And the jury is out on whether or not it's beneficial for fantasy, but it's something that you can certainly try. So that's the update for today. Enjoy watching some hockey. I will certainly be at least listening to some of the Caps game. And I will, be rooting for Lindgren to play well and hopefully Ovechkin to score because it's hockey and we all want to see records broken, even if it is the great ones. All right, good luck. May all your picks be winning and your engagement with sports be productive and not frustrating as it has been in the past when I was wagering. We're still going good. I'll keep updating every time I do a video. And I really want to tell you that I haven't bet on sports and hopefully we'll continue that. All right. Good luck.